Hey guys, welcome back to some more AFK Arena. Today we're back over on our test account, and that is right, 50 free emblems for the release of the hero. If you're new to AFK Arena, we started getting this actually a couple years ago. In addition to this, there are also discounted summons, so you want to make sure before the discounted summons do expire that you are using your time emblems. And of course, it is the first 10 summons at the Temple of Time will have a 20% discount. Now, in addition, the rates are now 2.5% in the Stargazer as well as the Temple of Time. So you're going to have some better rates in there to go ahead and get these out. Now, out of this video, guys, we want to go in. We want to make sure that we're going in here. Want to run through the skills and abilities this hero does possess. And we also do get to test him. So we want to see a couple different things with him, see exactly where he comes in. Then, of course, we do have those discounted summons, which we could hop in here, see exactly what we think with some of these. Let's run through the skills and abilities. Let's hop over. We'll see exactly what this hero is about. Now, of course, for the Wilder faction, this is really a game changer. I feel like he is going to be best in slot in a couple different formations. And I like that he is a ranger, continuous damage. Now, single target, we have to see exactly where he comes in when it comes to multiple targets. So when you think of, 3 to 5 targets, that is where damage I feel like is really going to shine because he has a lot of AoE damage. But again, we want to see where this scales. So looking at the Glacial Bellows, and I want to expand this. So when an active skill other than a normal attack hits an enemy, it gets Cold Snap Mark. That is that little icon you see above the hero. When a second stack appears, it inflicts the Crystal Cluster status on the enemy, stunning them. So that is going to be a built-in crowd control on top of some of the other heroes that have crowd control. The Crystal Clusters last for 10 seconds, during which the enemy is immune to further stacks, so these cannot stack up. But if the enemy receives non-Dragon Speak damage or health loss from Aeironn during the period, the crystal explodes, dealing extra damage. A lot of players were saying this is where a lot of the extra damage for this hero comes in, because not only 350% of the attack rating, and this damage ignores defense rating. That is going to be huge for some of your tanks to be able to do a lot more damage because of the damage or the defense reduction or the ignoring defense really rating at all. Neither Crystal Snap nor Crystal Clusters can be dispelled. Then there is an active part. So he summons the Crystal Tornado, which we know is the big crowd control, pulls everyone together. Pulling them together, reapplying the Cold Snap. So this again, applying 1 stack of Cold Snap every second and dealing damage equal to 500% of his attack rating every 2 seconds. That can add up really, really fast for a hero like this. While the skill is active, he is immune to control effect. Only 1 Crystal Tornado can be there at the same time, which is good. So enemies in the Crystal Cluster status cannot receive healing. Again, PvP-wise, not being able to heal your heroes, very cool to see. And a lot of other game modes, it's going to work incredibly well. Duration of most of the buffs are reduced by 50%, so wiping those off as well. This effect lasts for 8 seconds, and the normal attacks can apply Cold Snap. That is right, just the regular basic attacks are going to be able to go ahead and buff up that Cold Snap. Now, of course, the second part, Icy Strike, based on the signature items, you're going to have to build this out. Unleashes energy from the blade, inflicting health loss equal to 25% of the remaining health of each enemy hit. Again, interesting when you start getting level deficiency, exactly what that's going to look like. This health cannot exceed 1,050 of the initial attack, but cannot be less than 250. So again, if enemies are really high health, not going to do a ton, but there is a minimum on here. For every 5 Crystal Cluster explosion he caused, for next 8 seconds, his attack rating is increased by 25%. He is going to have the ability to buff himself. For the next 8 seconds, his attack rating is increased by 40%, which again is kind of crazy to think. Upon entering the battlefield, Aeironn will unleash 2 tornadoes. The tornadoes then will converge on enemies within the range, inflicting health loss, 25% of their remaining health, which again, going to make a big difference when you start getting into higher level deficiencies. And an additional 250% of Aeironn's attack rating, which of course is what he is buffing up himself. This skill also applies a stack of Cold Snap and reduces the haste by 60 for 8 seconds. Every enemy this skill inflicts health loss, he gains energy, which of course is going to be able to use the ultimate ability with the Tornado. The blade's energy penetrates all enemies passing through them, inflicting health loss on everyone. Kind of crazy. Violent Force deals 400% of the attack rating, which again, he can buff himself to enemies within a certain range if he's grouping them up within that tornado. If the damage causes an enemy's crystal cluster to explode, then that enemy deals 90% less damage to Aeironn. This is a part that we were looking at that we were really worried and concerned when it comes to the awakened version of Lucius, when it came to the awakened version of Antandra. I hope he doesn't follow the exact same thing, meaning that he is very, very squishy and he gets crushed when it comes to any level deficiency at all. If the skill causes 2 enemies to enter the crystal cluster state, or causes at least 2 enemies to explode, then the next ultimate will not consume energy. He might be able to really scale this damage like crazy. Enemies whose crystal cluster explodes due to the skill will lose 50% of the current energy, and their buffer and damage resistance will be reduced, which again, being able to maximize the damage in here. Then of course, the stunning counter strike. There's a passive part to this as well. When receiving damage from a health loss from an enemy within a certain range, Rapid blocks the attack and deals Dragon Speak damage. This is the big part where we're going to have actually our other dragon heroes come in. I'm thinking of a few different ones in there, thinking of Lan, thinking of Melion, a few different ones. Attack rating to the enemy with a certain range in front. This effect can be triggered once every 3 seconds. So unfortunately, it can't be spammed. You can see every time a block is triggered, Cold Snap stack is applied. Dragon Speak damage dealt to a skill is increased by 75% when blocking a nearby enemy, knocking them back and stunning them. So we are going to have a skill increase here again, and then of course the ultimate ability. When an active skill other than a normal attack hits an enemy, or when a crystal cluster explodes, deals an extra strike of Dragon Speak equal to 500% of his attack rating, which again, he buffs himself. This does not apply an extra Cold Snap mark, but every time a crystal cluster explodes, enemy's attack rating is permanently reduced for a maximum reduction of 40% reduction, which is huge, guys. Let's go ahead and see what this hero can do within this trial. Now, of course, want to test this out a little bit. I want to see kind of how the baseline looks in here. And then, of course, we want to go in here and do the guild trials, see kind of what he is all about. So let's hop out here and see how this is going to look in here. And I do want to kind of slow this down. It comes face to face. So he is really right up front. We don't have any range. He's not pulling like the traditional Aeironn. And there is the tornado. I don't know if the tornado is an RNG where it just moves kind of randomly like we've seen with the original version, but it looks like it stays stagnant until there are more enemies. But you'll also notice in here that he is ulting very, very fast, which of course is good because that can equate to a lot of damage in here. Now let's run in here. I'm going to do this just straight up as he sits right now. I want to drop everyone out of these formations and see just how he does by himself. And of course, I feel like he's just gonna, there was like almost like a mini tornado right there, but I want to see kind of where the damage comes in even there. So 12.6 on the first one. Again, we're going to drop out just a couple heroes here. Make sure that he's in that middle slot. Yeah, and there is. It's almost like a little mini tornado right off the back, 13.3. And this again is, we're just really trying to get a baseline of where this hero is. We'll start some level deficiency. We'll do a little, and they kind of run in. And yeah, guys, it goes right to the enemy. It goes right to the target. 19.4. So I'm almost wondering, single target is this will sit on top of a boss. If he can continue to spam these ultimate abilities, it's going to go straight to the target. That is pretty cool to see. So 12. So he's doing about 12. I would say probably 12 to 14 is what we're kind of seeing in here. And I'm also wondering, where's the level deficiency? You can see the little tornadoes that kind of come at that very beginning. Adrian Elise kind of sitting here. So I know the damage for this one is probably going to be through the roof. Yeah, 20.1, almost 21 million damage in there. So let's buff this up a little bit. So let's see 360. You know what? Let's go 460. I'm not sure at this point he's going to be able to survive on his own. Again, he's a ranger, not a tank. I feel like 100 level deficiency. But again, I want to see kind of where it sits. Looks like overall not doing very much damage. So he did pretty well there. Again, scaling almost 100 million damage right there. And I'm wondering if he's going to be able to take these out by himself. Yeah, look at that. That is pretty impressive. 107 million damage. I'm liking it. So there's the tornadoes. Even look at like that wind lash. Wow. That's kind of great. So there's the two like little tornadoes, kind of pulls them in. See, he went down in this one. 70 million on that one. And I wonder where that big burst damage came from. Boom, pull them in. Got a swipe right there. See, I feel like Mallory a couple other ones. Yeah, even right there, Mallory doing quite a bit of damage, but still almost 100 million damage in there. So now I'm wondering, even thinking like the first formations, what's it going to look like when we drop a hero in there like Meleon and seeing what this is kind of going to look like. And again, I'm not going to mess with the artifacts, nothing like that. But he is the exemplar. Now remember with Meleon, even they're 95, I'm wondering where we could kind of push this level deficiency in comparison to where we at. Where is he going to be kind of the folding point? Even there, I mean, we're at 156. Let's hop out and buff this up a little bit further. And I mean, he does have a pretty hefty damage reduction. I know this seems not a ton of damage. Wow. Yeah, I mean, 356. And just thinking, I mean, if we're dropping land in here, if we're putting a full build team around him, this could be pretty impressive. This could absolutely be pretty impressive. I mean, yeah, damage-wise, 784 million. I'm just wondering where this is going to be kind of a... We're going up 50 levels each time, and that's a 300 level deficiency. Again, I feel like he's going to get melted, but the crowd control... Yeah, I mean, that is pretty impressive. All right, let's drop land in here. Again, I want to see kind of with the buffs, what is this going to look like? Hold them all together in a nice little tight line. I wonder why Meleon pulled them so high. Let me try that one more time. Let me swap him to position 1. Because even there's the crowd control pulling them all together. That tornado actually lasts quite a bit of time. Look at that. Yeah, so he's dealing a multitude of damage, but they're just crowd controlled. Yeah, 589. So again, level deficiency, that's pretty high. I wonder even if we do put him in the middle. I know Cecilia is going to come right over. Lan, of course, just kind of explodes. But I know a lot of players were also saying with the Awakened version of Leica, I'm almost wondering what this is going to look like in formations. There we go. So we got tornadoes. Yeah, and he went down. Maybe like a Hildwyn for protection. But again, guys, we're running a 300 level deficiency. When you think of a majority of regular game modes in here, you're not going to be at 300 level deficiency. You're going to be roughly at the same level deficiency that you are in other game modes. Again, that's going to make a big difference on what this hero can do. And I like the tornadoes at the start. That is very cool. All right, let's see at this deficiency where we can get. So dropout land, unfortunately, isn't working incredibly well. But let's think of like what can buff him? Thinking of maybe a Lava Tune. Maybe we could get a Lava Tune out of here. Maybe some more crowd control with like an Aethys out of here. And then thinking like as a buffer, could put land in there, could do Shuna, could do a couple different heroes. And I'm thinking just who's going to buff up the ability that we have here with the hero. And again, a lot of crowd control with Aethys and just burns them right in the middle with that tornado. 737 million damage. Of course, Shuna went down pretty quick. Let's try changing this up a little bit, just thinking of the formation. Let's see if Melion. I know Cecilia over again, level deficiency. Probably just going to go ahead and wreck Melion pretty fast. No, not too bad. Kept him alive at least, got him all together. Yeah. Keeping Melion with the Exemplar up, 751 million. Wow. So it seems like frontline, he's going to have some viability. Being in the front line, I wonder almost like a Lucius. What else could we do for a little bit of mitigation? I'm thinking double mitigation in here. Let's see what he does with someone like Lucius. And even Hildwyn. Hildwyn is sitting on a lot of defense. I want to see kind of scaling in, yeah, 471, 80 in there. Let's switch up these two formations. I'm just kind of wondering, very similar to other Awakened heroes. So what exactly are we seeing in formation? How is the formation looking with the damage that he's doing in here? Even in respect to where is Awakened version of Lucius coming in? Yeah, 491. That's a pretty decent amount of damage. Again, that he is putting. I wonder even let's run like an Ivan in here. Let's go with a few. Let's go with Silas in here. I'm wondering because buff-wise, I know Ivan should go ahead and buff him up. And this might be pretty broken, guys, with the buffs that Ivan provides in here. Now, of course, he did die right there. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot of damage being thrown around. 1.24 billion damage. Again, I'm kind of thinking with some of these buffing formations, what is it going to look like if we're dropping like an Ivan on him and a couple other heroes that are offering and really putting up some big buffs in here? Because again, thinking of Emilion, we could see some really heavy numbers in here. Here we go. We got the shield up. Emilion in there for the buffing. Yeah, and I mean this team specifically. Yeah, 1.31 billion. All right, guys, level efficiency. Pretty impressed. Everything else, that's pretty impressive. I don't know if we've seen a hero quite to this caliber. I know super hero testing right now doesn't always show the true nature of the character. Have to use the character in a bunch of different game modes, but overall the testing looks pretty solid with him. I know the Awakened version of Entendre, we had a lot of issues with survivability, but it doesn't seem like he is really falling in that same line because, of course, he has a really good immunity that can be triggered with the damage, essentially negating some of the damage in here. Does seem to work pretty well. Buffs himself. I do like how he works and how he looks. All right, guys, so that is going to do it for today's video. Let me know in the comments what you guys think. And as always, thank you guys for watching.